I got really emotional seeing News Nation interview those inmates and them yelling over the fence and then flickering on and off the lights in their units to get the news outlets to see them and hear them. I actually got chills, and not only was that very dystopian, but something about watching these people that you know are meant to never be heard or seen again, basically, or at least for their time that they're there. Some of them are there for the rest of their lives. To know that you're looking at people who never get heard, who don't have a voice, in this very rare moment and rare interview where they stumbled upon this very powerful, like, sort of call and response news saying, should Luigi be moved to Rikers, stay or go? And they're all saying, go, go. They're talking about how the food has rats. And they're saying, oh, we should send an email to corrections. When have you heard a news outlet humanize, or anyone really, humanize prisoners to that effect? And then to go, and there's something about, you know, and I think about this often because, like, I live in a place where I can see the units of buildings, and they all are different. They have lights on, they have TVs on, they have different things in their units that they're doing and watching, and you see these people like cohabitating in these little boxes. And there's something so humanizing that we all understand about that when we look at, like, whether it's in a movie or, like, if you went to college, like, looking at dorms, seeing, oh, this person decorated their dorm this way, this person has their lights on, this person doesn't. It's a very humanizing, like, community thing. And to see the camera pan to them and they're all flickering their lights like crazy, because at first it was just one or two, and then as they saw themselves on the TV, they started to feel heard and empowered by that, and all in unison start to flicker in a way that was, like, really crazy to watch. And it's one of those weirdly special moments, like you would see maybe in a movie or something, where somebody who never gets heard is communicating in a weird way, whether it's like through Morse code through a wall, or with a lighthouse or something like that, where somebody who's not supposed to be heard communicates in a way that transcends their regular limitations. But in this case, it's like, you know, this whole situation with Luigi and shooting of the CEO, and now I'm gonna read you, okay, so the last manifesto that I read is apparently not the real one, and this is apparently the real one, okay? This is apparently the confirmed manifesto of Luigi, and I'm gonna read it in a second. But I think this whole situation has drawn a lot of attention to class consciousness, and yes, we're already, like, people who probably are interested in this content are hyper aware of the powers that be and the power imbalances, but that doesn't mean we get to see inmates flicker and make strobe lights for their interview with newscasters, and the newscasters being like, yeah, we should talk to corrections about your food. Seeing that, not just evidence, but exhibits of, like, okay, what are we really doing here? What is really going on? And then seeing, okay, I also want to talk about Luigi being the perfect face for this, in the sense of, like, so he went to an Ivy League school, all of it, he had insane back pain. And I've seen some people who are more knowledgeable, whose parents are doctors, and they've been researching on the case about, like, stuff about he can't go to the bathroom, he can't be intimate, like, things like that. But this man is supposedly, in, like, this time in history, should be able to have it all on paper. You know what I'm saying? Like, he went to an Ivy League, he comes from a good family, or a well-off family, apparently, and, you know, he's well-educated. All his friends like him. People were also talking about how he came from an Italian family and nobody snitched. Everybody loves him. All his friends love him. Nobody snitched for, like, a week, you know? People are also theorizing that there's Monopoly money, and he's playing Monopoly, and he intentionally got caught at a McDonald's, and there's this 288 number. There's all these theories. I'm more interested in the humanity of it all, and how this whole situation is really appealing to our humanity when we're seeing, like, prisoners being humanized and flickering and trying to communicate with us and with the public in a way that they are never allowed to, and given a voice in a way that they are not. And the news anchor saying, I think her name's Ashley, saying, rest assured you were heard tonight. Think about what that meant to them, but also, do they know what that meant to us? Anyway, so Luigi being somebody who should be able to ascend to the top and become the CEO, right? Again, Ivy League, attractive, seems tall, haven't looked it up, but appears to be tall. His head is always popping above the police. So one can assume he's got a good height, which you've seen like the studies about how when you're a tall, attractive white man, you are actually, there's like scholarships for that. There's scholarships for being tall in business. Like I remember I went to college, there's certain scholarships for certain things. And they'd be like, you can have a scholarship for being over the height of 6'3" as a man in business, or I don't know if it's 6'3" or what it is, because you're statistically on the rate to take over at this blah, blah, blah. Like, they're like, these people are deemed to go far. Let's propel them further. So the fact that the system has failed someone like him says a lot, because they can't go at him for being any kind of deviant, really. They're like, okay, well, hold on. He was actually liked by everyone in society. He was smart. He was attractive. He did everything right. And he still doesn't fuck with the system. So that causes the system to have to look at itself a little bit more when somebody who is meant to get to the top of it not only hates it and hates it effectively, but then can be the frickin' Katniss Everdeen of it. And if I thought my whistling skills never got recognized, I'm happy they came to freestyle in that moment. And I would like some comments saying how good that was. Thank you. No, but he is the symbolic, like, mockingbird figure of this sort of class consciousness, what people are calling. There's momentum for a revolution. That being said, people are, I don't know. Part of me is like, do people have a serious revolution in them? Like, they do and they don't. I think that lots of people are ready. I think lots of people are really comfortable. I think we're also very isolated. I think we're very at home on our phones. That doesn't mean that some people aren't being radicalized right now. And, common consciousness is a thing. And mob mentality is a thing. And momentum is a thing. And I think that him being the first shots and the first, like, I was going to say warning shots, but these were not warning shots. These were kill shots. It does sort of make him this mockingbird figure, and he is the ideal imagery for something like this because he is an attractive, educated, well-liked white man who has done sort of a Robin Hood-esque thing of, F you to the man, when he historically could have been the man. So that is what makes this whole situation a lot heavier and maybe a lot more impactful, like could go a lot further, because people aren't picking apart his appearance, his identity politics, because they're like, no, that you should have been able to take over that man's job. So what's wrong? So what went wrong? Right? Okay, now let me read you the real manifesto of Luigi Manzione. To the feds, I'll keep this short because I do respect what you do for our country. To save you a lengthy investigation, I state plainly that I wasn't working with anyone. This was fairly trivial, some elementary social engineering, basic CAD, a lot of patience. The spiral notebook, if present, has some straggling notes and to-do lists that illuminate the gist of it. My tech is pretty locked down because I work in engineering, so probably not much info there. I do apologize for any strife of traumas, but it had to be done. Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming. A reminder, the US has the #1 most expensive healthcare system in the world, yet we rank roughly number 42 in life expectancy. #1 most expensive is actually insane. United is the indecipherable, in parentheses, largest company in the US by market cap, behind only Apple, Google, Walmart. It has grown and grown, but has our life expectancy? No, the reality is these, brackets indecipherable, have simply gotten too powerful. Maybe it's parasites is what he said there. And they continue to abuse our country for immense profit because the American public has allowed them to get away with it. Obviously, the problem is more complex, but I do not have space, and frankly, I do not pretend to be the most qualified person to lay out the full argument. He said, let me stick to my strengths, aim and shoot. But many have illuminated the corruption and greed, e.g. Rosenthal, Moore, decades ago, and the problems simply remain. It is not an issue of awareness at this point, but clearly power games at play. Evidently, I'm the first to face it with such brutal honesty. It's kind of a bar. Like, that sounds like the beginning of an album. I don't know. You know, I know that the other one is alleged still. Some people say it is him. Some people say it was not him. I don't see, like, again, can somebody have more than one manifesto? Alleged, I don't know. This is unprecedented, okay? But I don't think the tone is like really that different. I think the tone is similar. It still reminds me of Henry from A Secret History. It's still very, look, this is what needed to be done. It is what it is. They had it coming. To me, it's still redistribution of matter-esque. Devil may care. Yeah, okay, I'm not the one to explain it to you. I know what I can do, and it's boom pow. Very blunt, very, like he said, brutally honest. And people are here for him. Also, I want to talk about his lawyer. So his lawyer is such an interesting cast for the season finale of America, in the sense of he reminds me of, I don't know if you guys watch The Good Wife, which, like, you should have watched The Good Wife. If you don't understand my personality, I should give you a list of shows that have formed my personality, and The Good Wife is one of them, okay? The Good Wife has this, like, little kind of creepy crawly man who's, like, bald in the middle, white hair on the sides, and he talks kind of like this, and it's like, that's what is, but he's like really smart and he always wins. As a lawyer, he's a lawyer. The Good Wife is about law. Did you not know that? You should watch it. Anyways, yeah, he's like this really odd, like, older man who always wins the case, but it is very off and, like, accidentally threatening. Not accidentally threatening. Like, he suppresses that he is a threat by, like, presenting as overly odd and, like, like, has a funny tone to his voice, but, like, could low-key be kind of scary. And I believe he is, like, the lawyer of the main, like, black drug dealer in the show, The Good Wife. Anyways, Luigi Manzione's lawyer reminds me of him because he's in the press conference being like, you know, the evidence, I could look on this table here. Okay, I got the evidence here. Zoom in. Zoom in. This is all the evidence I've seen. Hilarious. He's hilarious. Built for television. And so, you know, I wasn't old enough to see, like, the Johnny Cochran, like, drama, courtroom television. I am old enough to see this. Put it on the TV. Put it on the TV. I need to see the drama. If we're gonna be this theatrical, it belongs on a stage. You understand? I can't have a man who talks like this. Zoom in. This is all the evidence I've seen. Zoom in. I can't not see what goes on in that courtroom. Please televise it. But people are saying that they won't because it'll radicalize everyone. Which is fair enough, because homie had serious back issues and he would have to talk about it and be like, I was denied. It's a complex story that deserves to be televised. It would be good for the people, bad for the government. So who knows what checks and balances could allow that to happen. I hope it happens. It would be great TV. So if the people who would benefit from it being great TV and can get money from that, those big companies, if they can override the government and the institutions and the powers that be, that would be, I mean, healthcare, I guess. I don't know. I hope that we get to see it. I'm also skeptical that we will be able to, because I do agree it's going to radicalize a lot of people. Class consciousness now. In other news, when we're talking about funny voices and characters, Hawk Tuah girl scammed a bunch of people with like her Bitcoin. I don't know a lot about stocks and Bitcoin. I don't know a lot about Hawk Tuah girl. I believe her name is Haley. But the way the men who got scammed were on like a Twitter space and were trying to explain to her how she fucked them over, and she was like, sorry to interrupt you guys. I gotta go to bed. Good night. And the thing is, that wasn't a direct quote, but that is basically what happened. And she does sound like that. She sounded like a cartoon character, and she was like, sorry to interrupt you, Thomas, or whatever. Nick. I think his name's Nick. Sorry to interrupt you, Nick. I gotta go to bed. Toodles. She did not give a flying F that she played with people's money. And part of me is like, how interesting, like a bunch of men randomly got interested in this girl because of her sexual innuendo, and because of such, she then scammed them. Is it unethical? I'm not sure. Was it ethical to give her your money in the first place and expect her to know what to do or care? These are, again, Sophie Rain. They got mad at a bunch of men getting mad at Sophie Rain's salary of like $43 million. Was it a year or a month? I forget. It was like more than basketball players, like NBA players. Whose fault is that? Who gave that money to her? It wasn't women. So again, the outrage is like, okay. Selena Gomez got engaged to Benny Blanco, which I predicted in February. There's a TikTok that has 4 million views where I said, I think they're going to pop out married because of the way that she's posting him. And I actually thought they were going to like get eloped. I didn't think it would be like a big engagement, big wedding situation, but the ring is stunning. I would like a ring like that, by the way. Very beautiful. And honestly, I think they make sense. I like them together, but I think it's funny that like they got engaged after Hailey Bieber announced her pregnancy, but I don't believe has had the baby yet. So I just think it's like definitely time for Selena's era of being her own main character in the story. She's been the tertiary character in their story for so long, through not really any fault of her own, more of the internet and the trolls. But like, I'm happy that she finally gets like a solid enough story for herself that she can then center herself in her narrative from now on, and won't just be like, oh well, what about him and Selena? What about Justin and Selena? How does Selena feel about this? Oh, they're pregnant. How does Selena feel about this? It's like she finally can be like, I'm fine, leave me alone. In a way that maybe people actually will, because it went on for too long. Last but not least, my recs for the week. Definitely watch The Ultimatum, as I have been watching. I am gonna do like a deep dive on it in my next episode / video, I believe. Right now, JR is disappointing me because he was the finest one on there, and he's honestly, his TikTok, if you haven't, you should go watch, because he's bullying Marshall from a different season of Ultimatum. And it's kind of funny. It's also cringe. Like, JR's TikToks are cringe. And it ruins his whole... Here's the thing. You can't be like this mysterious guy with all these tattoos, but then be like corny on TikTok and expect like the facade to hold up. It doesn't. But it was sad, because at first I was like, oh, I want him and Zayn to make it. I think Zayn's too mature for him. I need to go into, like, I'll go into a deep dive next episode. I don't want to do it right now because I haven't finished the last episode of the new batch. And there's also going to be even more of a few episodes to drop. So I'm going to, like, wait for all those to come out before I do a deep dive. But definitely go watch that so that when I talk about it, you're caught up. And yeah, thank you so much for watching and or listening. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.